From FingerLakes1.com, I'm Josh Durso, and this is Inside the FLX. It's June, and as our first program of the month, we are going to be talking about Pride Month and an upcoming festival set to happen in Geneva. The Finger Lakes Pride Festival will take place Saturday, June 9th, along the Seneca Lake shoreline. And event organizer Chelsea Snyder is in studio to tell us all about it and why events like this one are so important. Chelsea, we've been talking about this one for a while, so thank you for finally coming in and being able to give us a little bit of preview of what's going to be going on, but also the background on how events like this sort of take shape. So first, a little bit about you, your background and how you got involved with some of the organizations that ultimately put these great events on.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here. Second time in the studio, exciting. But a little bit about me. So I used to volunteer for the LGBTQ Center of the Finger Lakes several years ago at these Pride festivals. So it's kind of cool to come like full circle. But the LGBTQ Center of the Finger Lakes was its own nonprofit around 2012, run by Amy Hickey, and now is a advocacy program under Family Counseling Service. And we're putting on our fourth annual Pride Fest, so celebrating LGBTQ community members, specifically in the Finger Lakes, and it's pretty cool. I've been doing it the past 2 years, putting on this festival, and exciting because we've officially moved out of the parking lot of downtown Geneva across from the Smith, and we're doing it again at the lakefront next to the new Finger Lakes Welcome Center, which is really cool. Yeah. So last year we had a beautiful lake festival, which was, it was gorgeous, so much fun, and we're hoping to recreate that and be even better this year. So
a little bit about the organization behind it. Obviously, this is the fourth time you guys have done it. Just the amount of work. I want people to appreciate how much effort goes into something like this. It may be one day, but it's months and months and months and months of planning, talking, getting different vendors and things like that lined up. Talk to us a little bit about the effort and how much of an organizational push it really takes to make something like this happen.
It's a lot of work, but I definitely couldn't have done it without, first of all, our sponsors. We have some really awesome sponsors out there. To our volunteers, I am only one person, right? So yeah, as much as I try to clone myself, it just doesn't work. So couldn't have done it with our volunteers. And then we do have a core group of planners that come to meetings and help go over logistics and ideas, and without that, it's really hard to organize without that feedback. And I'm such a people person that throughout, really starting from last festival, right, to this week, just trying to get as much feedback and information about what people wanted to see, what people were missing, what could be improved, how could we be more inclusive, how can we get better decorations. So much input that if you don't say it, then I can't improve on it. So one thing that we heard back at the festival last year was we had live music, but people wanted more activities to do, a schedule of fun things that they could do. So this year, that's what we have. So that feedback goes a long way with me.
So what is, for those who might not know, what is Pride Month and how does it fit into the larger scheme of equity and just sort of making sure that we're all on a level playing field and everyone is heard?
Yeah, so June is Pride Month, specifically LGBTQ Pride, so lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer questioning Pride, and that is kind of an umbrella term, right, for all the different identities and spectrums of gender that we celebrate. So Pride Month is really a month that has a lot of history to it, and I won't go into that. That's a great thing to take home and research. But Pride history, was founded on the riots, right? So just being heard, being seen, visibility, and then coming along with equal rights, and people in the community we're human, and we just want to be treated like everybody else. And Pride Month is about being proud of our history, right? Those roots and the people that fought before us to just, be who we are authentically. And Pride Month, and specifically this festival, is a safe place that we want anybody to come, no matter what their identity is, celebrate, LGBTQ people, specifically in the Finger Lakes, and be authentic, be you, and that's such a simple thing, but it's such a huge thing for people that have don't have that maybe at school or at home or with their friends. So we really strive for a safe place that people can come out, enjoy an afternoon, and be their authentic self.
Well, and not only that, but the location of it in particular, at the northern shore of Seneca Lake is quite literally in the center of the Finger Lakes. It really lends itself to being an opportunity for anyone in the Finger Lakes to just learn a little more, be themselves, all those types of things. When you guys were going through I'll say when you were first getting involved, when you're going through those early iterations of the festival, did you guys see that as being something that would be more duplicated throughout the Finger Lakes? Because I think it's a little bit surprising that there is only one Pride Festival for the entire Finger Lakes. For somebody who, covering news in the Finger Lakes is a very big area.
Yes.
It's not like a small single city community. How difficult is it just making sure that the entire Finger Lakes is included, since you guys are having to represent a whole bunch of people?
Yeah, I mean, really it's about reaching out and getting, all different communities involved. Especially one of our biggest sponsors is CNY Latino. So they are heavily focused in the Syracuse area. So really trying to network with different vendors from different areas around the Finger Lakes to bring them in, and also welcome, their community members, their followers, and such. But really include, our Hispanic community, and I mean, it's a hard job getting the whole Finger Lakes area, but to my knowledge, the only closest Pride Festival is Rochester and Syracuse, which I think Syracuse is next weekend. But yeah, we're trying to engulf like a huge area in one little festival, but I think we do a good job just, this year trying to get more marketing out there to people to let them know that, hey, like, we have a free festival, come and enjoy with your families, and, tell a friend. So
let's talk about some of the events.
Sure.
Obviously, you guys listened, you heard, you acted. Now we're here. What are some of the things that are going to be going on this coming weekend that people can experience once they get to the festival?
So the festival will be, like we said, at the Seneca Lakefront in Geneva, New York. So it's from 3 to about 9 o'clock at night. And just off my cheat sheet, we have a lot of cool things. So we have 2 hair and drum circle that's going to be drumming away. We have a friendly cornhole tournament. So I stress friendly. I've been to a couple of cornhole tournaments that it's friendly, and it turns out to be like pro. We have Finger Lakes Community Health that has partnered with us, and they're putting on a different kinds of bingo to be like educational. So relationship bingo. So like, what's a healthy relationship versus not healthy relationship. We have a free yoga class. We have obviously our raffles and silent auction, because this is a festival to raise funds for our program and for resources in the area. So the festival, the first 2 years actually had admission charge, but last year we dropped that because we really wanted to be welcoming for families. And if you have a family of 5, a $10 admission charge is quite a lot. So we want
That's
people
an
to bring
expensive day out.
Yeah, it really is, and that's not even including food. So we want people to bring their money, but also invest that into our food trucks and people that are there, the vendors. We also have sex ed bingo. We have our drag show. So right around like 6:30, that's like when we kind of switch from our vendors heading out for the night and focusing on our drag show, which is really fun. Local drag queens and kings from this area come out and have a fun time. So it's all outside. Like I said, we have a bunch of food trucks: El Moro, the Buffalonian, Over the Moon Grilled Cheesery, which I'm super excited about, Global Taco, and then the ever favorite Bubble Tea. A ton of like kid activities. So tie-dye t-shirts we're going to have this year, face painting, all different kinds of things. This year we also have pick and paint canvas by some local artists. They're actually going to do kind of like a paint and sip kind of class without the sip. So you get to pick like 3 different designs, and they'll show you how to paint it, and you get to take a canvas home, which is really cool. And then a ton of vendors. I mean, there's so many to look through, but then just like our wineries and beers that are going to be for sale, and then that's
It's impressive because it covers a lot of ground, but it's still also educational at the same time. And how difficult, because I always wonder, how do you strike the balance between entertaining and educational when it has to be both, but it really should be educational at its core, right?
Yeah, and that's, what is important to me, especially with these vendors. We have like a lot of health and wellness vendors, and you think about healthcare with the LGBTQ community, that is there's not a really great relationship there. It's not trustworthy, and a lot of LGBTQ community members will avoid going to the doctor just for their safety. Right. So we want to show them that, hey, like these are people that care about you, that have resources specific to LGBTQ healthcare, and want to promote a healthy lifestyle. Here are services. We have somebody that actually gives rides to appointments. So like, really connecting those resources to utilize in order to provide like a better life. So really trying to get that education of, hey, here's a safe resource, like utilize them when you need them. And also Finger Lakes Community Health doing some fun educational stuff too. Yeah. But yeah, the kids are actually going to be doing a pride and like trivia game at the kids court too. So a little bit of information on the history of Pride Month and the different colored flags and all that stuff too. And
it is a truly family friendly event in every aspect, on the education side, but also on the entertainment side as well, obviously. Yeah. That said, how do you guys utilize this to sort of continue the conversation, to keep it going so that beyond June, throughout the summer, through the winter, that this is something that is continuing to be talked about, and to sort of continue raising that awareness that is really, really vital, especially in a rural place like the Finger Lakes, where it's hard to get a message out.
Yeah. So I think of 2 things when you ask that question. So one, I think of the youth that are in our support groups and how much this truly means to them. I mean, they are volunteering behind the scenes. So during the support group, we do little activities to help, prep for the festival, and they'll be there volunteering. And to them, the visibility. So too, like the visibility of having people turn out for a Pride Festival says so much, especially, having allies or people that identify. We want everybody there celebrating. Right. So I think the message of just being visible and seen for your authentic self, which is one of my favorite things. It is a really huge message, and I hope that it carries for the rest of the year until we do the festival again. But for somebody that might be questioning or unsure of their identity, this is a really great place that kind of settles their soul, that I'm not the only person out here in this rural area in the Finger Lakes that, is LGBTQ plus. So I think just being visible, being seen, being validated, that's a huge message that hopefully keeps, people talking, but also, hooks them into our services, right? So like it's an awareness, like, yeah, we have this Pride Festival, but also like, did you know that we're still like providing services in this area, support groups, programming, education for schools and agencies, Safe Zone, a lot of like things that people might not know about, which is okay, but we want them to tap into that and use it. So
one of the other things that we always hear whenever we talk about a festival here, I'm sure somebody's going to mention in the comments that, I can't go there because parking is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You guys have parking figured out. I saw the map. It looks good.
Yes.
There will be no parking issues, I predict.
Good. Okay, great. And a sunny day, right? Good.
Yeah, and the weather will be perfect.
Beautiful.
But a little bit just in terms of what, should people arrive early? Will it be something that they should be planning a little bit ahead of time so that they can, maybe get a better parking spot, or maybe just if they're trying to park away, what's the logistic end of it look like on that side?
Yeah, so there was definitely some confusion last year about, okay, is this in the state park? Is this like, by the Ramada? So we're like right next to the new Finger Lakes Welcome Center. Right. You can turn in that light to go into the Finger Lakes Welcome Center and keep going straight, and that's the grass circle that will have specifically handicap parking and vendor parking, but anybody that turns in there is more than welcome to. We'll just have the first couple rows for those people that need it. But the general parking is on 5 and 20. It's that little like turn off for the golf course, the Frisbee golf course, but everything will be marked this year. We have big, like 15-foot, like those ribbon flags and some great volunteers that are going to be out there for 2 hours each and really help and direct people to where they need to go. So I recommend people carpool, walk over from the Ramada or from downtown if you can, but if not, come and park close if you need to by the new Welcome Center or off of 5 and 20 if you don't mind a little walk. But yeah, that's carpool. A lot of vendors will be taking the swipe cards, but I always recommend bringing cash just in case. Technology, you never know. But that's what's also nice about the new Welcome Center. There's an ATM and restrooms if we really have a backed up line at the Porta Johns. But yeah.
So I want you to, my last question for you, this is always the one that I try to end with, looking forward. Events like this, they're growing every year. They're getting better. They're getting more organized because of people like you. What do you see for an event like this one in 3, 4, 5 years? It's tough, I know. I always end with a hard hitter.
I mean, honestly, I've seen growth. Just flipping over, the festivals in past years, we've had a couple events surrounding the festival. This year, when going around and talking about the Pride Festival, different venues were like, we want to get involved in Pride Weekend. You think of like the big Pride festivals like in New York City. Right. They have one parade and like one festival, but then there is a whole weekend of different bars or different like venues putting on Pride themed events because they're capitalizing on the crowd, right? So really from June 8th, which is this Friday, we have the Smith Opera House that is hosting Mal Bloom and Mary Lambert, and tickets are at the Smith. We have Earthly Possessions that's going to do a pre-concert little gathering. The Linden Social Club downtown Geneva is doing drag queen bingo and a drag show. Then Saturday morning, so this Saturday, right before the Pride Festival at the lakefront, we have the Geneva Public Library that's putting on like a monologue that's going to be really cool. After the festival, our official after party for 21 and over is at FLX Live, which is they got some really cool people going to be performing there. They're called the Roddenberries, and they're like sci-fi, Star Trek, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited to hear what they got going on. And then wrapping it up, Sunday, we love our great sponsors, the Finger Lakes Gifts and Lounge, the Flounge. They always help us by putting on our open mic for the trans and gender expansive communities. So that's a great way to go grab a cup of coffee, get a waffle, get a sandwich, and listen in on some personal stories. And if you do identify, go up and share something if you do feel safe enough.
So where can people learn more, either about the Resource Center or about the festival itself? I'm assuming you guys are on Facebook and that sort of thing because it's 2018. So where can people learn more this week before the festival actually happens?
So our main site, I would definitely say, is our family counseling site. So www.fcsfl.org. That is such a hard thing to memorize, but Family Counseling Service, FingerLakes.org. That has a link right to our information map, poster, schedule, all that, but also our Facebook page. So the 2018 official FLX Pride Festival that has a constant stream of information that people can tune into.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate you coming in. I'm sure we'll be having some more conversations about this topic and this event, especially after another successful iteration. So good luck. The finish line is getting close. You're almost there. And we'll be talking to you again.
Thanks, Josh.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. I'd like to thank Chelsea, our listeners, and of course, FingerLakes1.com for making this program possible. You can catch Inside the FLX on Saturdays during the 10 o'clock hour on WDWN 89.1 FM in Auburn or 97.7 FM in Fulton. The program also airs Sundays and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on Spectrum Channel 1304. It is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and the FingerLakes1.com app. Until next time, stay informed, Finger Lakes. We'll catch you.